Lewis Hamilton has posted a cryptic message that hinted towards an extraordinary and fan favourite reunion. And now that he's starting a new journey in Ferrari, it seems like he's ready to revive some of the old connections he had back in Mercedes. The professional split up with Cullen, who was always seen next to him throughout Grand Prix weekends, has hit the Hamilton fans hard. But it seems like they'll work together again in Ferrari after all of the latest hints that have been dropped in the last post of Hamilton. With this in mind, is he making sure to not leave anything to chance and tick all of the boxes for success? And if so, should Leclerc be worried? Angela Cullen has been one of Hamilton's closest friends and professional co-workers who is not a Formula One driver, and the physiotherapist who worked with Hamilton from 2015 to 2023 has definitely left her mark on the seven-time world champion's well-being. Of course, she saw the stress that he had to go through with cars like the W13, but nevertheless, it's been painful to see these two break up their professional relationship as Angela devoted her life to travelling around the world and seeing destinations like Egypt, Bali and California. But now both of them have gone skiing together, and Cullen wore a Ferrari suit, which hints towards a scenario in which maybe a reunion could be possible now that there is not anything holding Hamilton back from bringing old accolades from Mercedes, who are not with the team anymore. Of course, we all expected Bono to be the first popular person close to Hamilton to follow him to Ferrari, but the terms with the race engineer are just not the same as the ones Cullen had, which is fairly obvious to assume. When talking about how influential Cullen was on his career, Hamilton has always had a high opinion of her and insisted that in this sport, the most important thing is to surround yourself with positive people. Further adding, people for sure won't understand it naturally because they see it from a distance, but she has been one of the greatest things that has happened to me in my life. I've been fortunate to work with a lot of people, and she is the single hardest working woman that I get to be around. She is focused and selfless, and she makes my weekends peaceful. Every day I wake up, whatever time it is, she is just positive. Never a single day has she been negative. So that is very, very important. Of course, this is from the time that they collaborated in Mercedes, and on the other hand, ever since Cullen left, we've seen some depressing statements from Hamilton that are not necessarily connected to Angela, but could still be considered a state of mind that he could have dealt with a lot better if maybe the physiotherapist was still around next to him. Unfortunately, she wasn't, and this is why Hamilton thinks it's very important to surround yourself with positive, influencing people. Elaborating further on this, the seven-time world champion said, "I think it's important in life to put positive people around you. You can't be going around with dead weights. You can't be going around with people who don't inspire you to be better and lift you up when you are down. You need to be around people who can do that for you, and she is one of them." All of this is showing us signs that the seven-time world champion is definitely ready for a reunion, because to say that his first year or two in Ferrari is going to be extremely hard is definitely an understatement. He has to adapt to a new car and a completely new team, starting from the engineers back in Maranello and finishing with the man who will be constantly in his ears, Riccardo Adami. Of course, he is up for the challenge, and it's not the first time that a world champion is changing a race engineer, but given the fact that this is Ferrari we are talking about, the team that is very questionable regarding team tactics and strategies, then you can't help but wonder, where could you see Hamilton in this entire situation? The most important thing that he will need is support from somebody who is very close to him, and even though their paths have divided, it's not like they ended on a sour note. It's a very easy mission for Hamilton to bring Cullen back into his life if he wants to. The big question is whether Angela would be open to the challenge, because after the words of Hamilton regarding her always being there for him when he needed her the most, from early dawn to late night, then I guess this duo just can't wait any longer to get back on their professional relationship. When talking about the presence of Cullen in his life while in Mercedes, Hamilton said, Angela is with me until 10 or 11 p.m. every day and with me from 6 or 7 a.m. every morning. We love doing what we do. We love doing it together, and I'm incredibly grateful to have her on the road. I don't think I could do it without her. Of course, this is a thing that needs to be discussed privately, but it's obviously something that we'd love to see too. Two people who devoted huge portions of their professional lives to Mercedes now being reunited in the fiercest rival of the Brackley-based squad and making sure that they're going to exploit every single second of their collaboration. Be that as it may, Hamilton might have some bigger worries on his mind because he's still, of course, yet to try out the Ferrari car. And while all of the 1,000 kilometres have been put across 4 days on Barcelona, the track that Ferrari rented exclusively for this matter. Usually the testing of 1,000 kilometres is done throughout a period of 1 month, but Ferrari and Hamilton don't want to leave anything to chance, and they want to get stuff done as early as possible. Whether or not he'll be driving the SF23 or the F175, or to be more precise, the 2023 or the 2022 Challenger respectively, it is to be determined by the team. What is known from this aspect is that the 7-time world champion can't wait for March to come sooner, because if you're to look at the statements from his team principal Fred Vasseur and the concept of the car being changed 99%, then you would normally assume that Hamilton would want to have the upper hand as early as possible. When talking about the 2025 season and what we should expect in terms of the car's philosophy and design, Vasseur went on to say, if it will be competitive, we'll find out in Bahrain. Sometimes you don't realise you're taking risks until afterwards. The car will be completely new. I think we'll have less than 1% of the parts in common with the 2024 cars. It's a different project, but the same applies to everyone. We can't say now if 2025 will be our year, but I trust the project we are working on. It will still be an intense challenge like the one we just completed. I am very proud of how we tackled difficulties this year, but we must take another step towards consistency. And from Hamilton's side, this is not the only preparation he's done in order to make sure that the transition to Ferrari would go smoothly. He's been visiting Maranello a couple of times, 5 to be more precise, in a distinct manner, while still being under contract with Mercedes in order to make sure to get to know the facilities as much as he can. The 7-time world champion has also talked to Vettel, his old nemesis and rival, about the services of Adami, which goes to show that he wants to make sure to have the best of the best available, a category in which Cullen also falls under. Hamilton has a bad voice for not being a driver who can contribute to delivering the best feedback for a car's development, and while we do have tons of arguments that can debunk this theory, that's a story for another video. Some of Hamilton's wishes have been granted, such as the position of the cockpit being slightly back, so he'll have a bit more feel with the rear end of the car and a bit less with the front, which he explained was too biting in Mercedes and felt like he was sitting on the front tyres. What this goes to show, again, is that Hamilton is leaving nothing to chance and that he's not coming here to Ferrari to retire. He's coming to win a championship and do it with grace. With all this in mind, do you think that Angela Cullen would be a great part of Hamilton's success story in Ferrari if they joined forces? And more importantly, do you think that she'd be open to a reunion outside their old team Mercedes with a fresh start in front of them? Let us know in the comments below, and if you want to know more about the huge shake-up in Alpine that saw the French team signing Colapinto as their reserve driver, make sure to check out the video that's appearing on your screen right now.